What's up, Aries? This is going to be October 2022 for you. I just wanted to talk about intrinsic worth and value. For me, there's something to be said about intrinsic worth and value and not kind of abiding by the rules and regulations of society to the point where, they're kind of unconsciously telling you that you're not enough, or if you don't check certain boxes, then you're just casted to the side. And I think that's especially resonant for Aries personality types, if you have Aries in your chart, because Aries do tend to be somewhat of a trailblazer, this kind of lone wolf, lone star state, so to speak. So something to be mindful of as far as, what your market value is and what your net worth is and what it is that you have to provide, and even also against the possibility that, we don't know, in the context of dating and relationships and dating apps and technology and social media, we don't know if those things are in our favor or not. We don't know if you're single and looking on dating apps, we don't know that those systems aren't rigged against you, technically. I mean, me personally, I'm also on dating apps, and I've purchased subscriptions and I haven't had any luck. So it kind of calls into question, well, what is a man and a woman traditionally, or masculine, feminine, or just two beings, or maybe even like a throuple or a group of people that just want to be together in a romantic sense, whatever the thing is, across the board. Intrinsically, the good time value would be that, but it's then you call into question, well, people have such a wide range of beliefs that you kind of just have to break down that fourth wall of, hey, am I aligned? Am I of a similar, am I having a similar way of looking at the world? Because most likely that's probably going to inform the direction in which the relationship is moving, in which you're moving. Right now I'm seeing this kind of potentiality. I'm seeing you have any pick of any which way directionally that you could want to go here. I'm not seeing so much you being engaged sexually or physically, passionately at the moment. You can really just be waving and hanging out there, solo dolo. And if that particular characteristic or detail doesn't apply to you, no need to skip the video. You could just simply discard that portion. It could be that you are in a romance, but we'll see what other messages still have to come. So feel free to try to apply this as kind of applicable as possible. But I am seeing this kind of choose your own adventure spirit, but I'm seeing that you're being led with logic and more of that kind of rationale that I'm speaking to right now. I think one of the kind of unconscious things that men have to go through is, they're not enough, or they don't have enough this, they don't have enough that. But at the kind of element of it all, it's are you capable of, if you're talking biologically, historically, are you able to pass on the family name, so to speak? That traditionally a very old school primitive way of thinking of someone's value. Or for a woman, can you bear children? And if you can't, what's your worth? So this is some of the stuff that we're talking about as far as intrinsic worth and value, and what the meaning of your time here existing really is. To me, it kind of boils up, or it surmises to be, hey, am I enjoying myself? I know I need to pay bills, I need to make revenue, I need to make rent, but can I find some sort of glimmer of enjoyment or laughter in this process? And can I make that a cornerstone, something foundationally that allows me to level up as far as my enjoyment of life? I guess what I'm trying to say is that we all have this birthright, Aries, and that's to be happy, that's to be satisfied, that's to have joy. And if you're not cutting away at what life kind of gives you, or the societal system gives you, to carve out what joy is for you, then then you're doing yourself a disservice. I am seeing that cutting away with the Ace of Swords in the upright. I'm seeing that leads you to coming out of challenging, objectionable energy, meaning, energy that wants to cause or act as a roadblock on your path. I see conflict. I see no communication here. These energies for me offset to the Three of Wands in reverse, Two of Wands in the upright, Ace of Wands in the upright. Ultimately, if I'm doing all the tarot math, as I like to call it, adding all these wands together, this is about that physicality, that passion, that new action, that new kind of lease on life energy for you, Aries, as we're circling this calendar year, moving into the new year. I just feel as though that you're really kind of grasping momentum. You're really kind of seeing how to do the dance now, especially financially. And that's going to, give you this freed up sense of, space and renewal and resources and freedom and how to kind of do the game right, whether it's your credit line, whether it's, your investments, whether it's, you're seeing from an eagle-eyed view, oh, this isn't working, no need to catastrophize it, let me just look at it from a bird's eye view. Let me adjust this, let me adjust that, oh, these relationships aren't working, or this old model of viewing, who I want to be with isn't working, let me learn from that experience, and let me just continue onward, because your biggest asset in your resource is time, essentially. I know that it's different for men and women, biologically speaking. I always am a proponent to say that women have their own spiritual journey if they are clock watchers, as I like to say, if they are worried about, if they're able to start a family or not at a certain age. That's your spiritual cross to bear. That's your kind of, what you have to figure out about your own birthright, your own intrinsic worth, how to meet those and satiate those biological desires without letting your being get you down as far as who you really are, which is more so that kind of controller of the narrative, that controller being that has the say on your storyline. Because at the end of the day, life is something that you're going to be moving through, and so you might as well have 1,000,000% creative control over the narrative, because everything that's going to get us through this journey in life boils down to the narrative. Beyond the physical literally getting through life itself, the next most important thing is the narrative of how you're doing that, and that's going to inform your level of happiness, enjoying, and well-being, and then in turn that's going to feed back into your willingness to want to live a long, happy, healthy life. It's not enough for success. It's not enough for, being able to make the ends meet. It's a big part of it, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but then it's that narrative. What's the story that you're telling yourself? And right now I see a very fine one. I see one of balance. I see one of newness, rejuvenation. I see things may have not been on the track. I see that maybe you may have been burning the candle at both ends, but it was almost like you were training with weights on, Aries. And so now you've taken those weights off, and now you've learned how to streamline the process even faster and even better for yourself. So a lot of wisdom and experience, even though there are some signs of discomfort, maybe you're not where you want to be necessarily 100% relationship-wise, family and friends-wise, but you had to make sacrifices in order to really be about the life that you wanted to carve out for yourself. I'm not saying that you're completely excommunicating, people from a past life, so to speak, but you are doing a more kind of disciplined, methodological approach as to, how you let it interfere with your narrative and your storyline. For me, I see that you're seeing the world as your oyster, Aries, with the Two of Wands and the upright. You have big plans. You have, big lessons that you've learned this past year as to who to let in and who to give your love to and who to make your connections with. And ultimately, I think that you're realizing that, first and foremost, the primary relationship is the connection and the relationship you have with yourself, and thus the relationship with life. And for me, in my mind, you're making a decision between, hey, is life going to be a comedy or a tragedy? And I think that, thankfully enough, you're choosing a comedy, Aries. So good on you. I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you. And as always, feel free to reach out. On to Taurus. Happy October. Happy Halloween. Love you guys. Hope you guys have had a great year so far. reach out for more. If you just want to shoot the shit or contact or one-on-one reading, what have you. Love you, Aries. Peace, Aries family. I'm one of you guys. On to Taurus next. Peace.